Hello and welcome to my series, Surviving the Larapinta. This is part 7, Off the Trail. The Larapinta Trail is wild, beautiful, and sometimes disorientating. Navigation on the Larapinta Trail is one of those things people underestimate, right up until the moment it matters. Even with good trail markers, reliable guides, maps, and modern gear, hikers occasionally lose their way. On paper, the trail seems straightforward. Blue arrows, signposts with directions and distances, information boards at each of the section trailheads, stone cans, a clear path etched across the desert. The Northern Territory Parks team does an incredible job marking the track. And there are also really good trail maps and trail information available for each section. But they're not perfect. The Larapinta is long, it's remote, and it changes constantly. In gorges, rock formations cast deep shadows and the trail can disappear. At dusk or dawn, when light is low, markers can be hard to see. On rugged ridges or rocky high ground, where the path may just be a faint compaction in rock or loose stones. Vegetation overtakes parts of the track, reducing marker visibility. You'll climb over ridgelines, where the markers are half hidden behind spinifex. You'll cross open plains where the sun bleaches everything into the same shade of desert gold. And markers fall over, cans get knocked down, and floods reshape creek beds. And when you're tired, really tired, every pad starts to look like a trail. Every shadow looks like a marker, and that's when navigation stops being obvious and becomes a skill. Sometimes the trail can be difficult to follow, and there are several sections with lots of goat tracks, and if you take them, they will leave you scrambling before having to backtrack, losing precious time. Maps sometimes omit minor junctions, or the wrong turn is so subtle it looks like you're staying on the marked path, only to discover, kilometres later, you've gone off course. To avoid these mishaps, here's what you should have. Multiple sources of navigation that include a good paper map of the Larapinta Trail with all sections marked, including side trips and campsites. A reliable GPS device with preloaded waypoints. A compass and the knowledge of how to use it with a map. The guidebook or an offline mapping app. An emergency beacon, such as a PLB or an EPIRB, or satellite phone. These devices can alert rescue services. Also, a good headlamp. Low light leads to wrong turns if a section takes longer than expected. Also, tell someone your itinerary, where you expect to camp, approximate timelines, when you plan to check in. That way, if you don't check in, someone raises the alarm. And carry enough water and food so that if you get delayed, you can wait it out. And finally, if possible, don't hike alone if inexperienced. Hiking with a partner can help double-check route decisions, look out for markers, and assist in the event of injury or illness. People think navigation problems come from inexperience, but more than often it's fatigue. That's the real enemy. Your brain starts cutting corners. You stop thinking logically. You start making assumptions. You push on because you're tired and you just want the day to end. But that's exactly how hikers end up halfway up the wrong spur. The Larapinta punishes people who rush, who push too hard and who stop paying attention. Navigation isn't just a map skill, it's a discipline. Let's look at recent examples from the last few years, incidences that show what can go wrong and how navigation or emergency devices made all the difference. In May 2024, 64-year-old Victorian hiker Alastair Thompson set out on a solo of the Larapinta. His last contact was on the 21st of May. A search operation was launched, and he was later located near Hugh Gorge, close to a waterhole. This was a tragic outcome. This incident underlines how serious it can be when someone's alone, when contact is intermittent, and when there's no real way to signal distress earlier. In August 2024, a 33-year-old solo hiker was dropped off at Stanley Chasm and intended to hike to Miller's Flat via an alternative route. Around 9:30 p.m. he was overdue. He ran out of water and became disorientated. His phone battery died. A large search involving police, volunteers, parks and wildlife, and helicopters tasking over 134 square kilometres was mobilised. He was located early the next morning. And in another case on the same weekend, a 40-year-old woman walking solo between Simpsons Gap and Stanley Chasm became lost. On the first afternoon, she realised she had missed a turn-off from a creek bed she'd been following. Her map app said she was about 2 kilometres beyond where she should have been. She made camp by a waterhole that night, confident she could get back to the trail the next morning, but she ran out of water, became dehydrated. But she had a PLB, and was rescued via helicopter after activating it. She said what happened to Alastair, who died about a month earlier on the same trail, was on her mind, and helped her decide to use the beacon. For her, hydration and navigation both failed, but she had carried an emergency location device, and she survived. It just shows how multiple safety layers help. More recently, in May 2025, a 46-year-old woman broke her ankle near Hugh Gorge. She activated her PLB. Rescue teams responded, including a helicopter, but due to terrain, they had to trek some kilometres in to reach her, and she was carried out on a stretcher. These stories show variety: missing, disorientation, dehydration, injury. PLBs and EPIRBs often make rescue faster and safer. Not having such gear or being alone and going off the main route without strong navigation often leads to delays in rescue or worse outcomes. The take-home lessons: never assume the trail will always be obvious. Low light, scrub, bad weather, or side routes can confuse. Always pack emergency navigation and communication gear, even if you think you're just doing a short section. Build time into your schedule. Delays due to navigation mistakes, injuries, and weather are frequent. Being prepared doesn't remove all the risk, but it dramatically changes outcomes. The Larapinta Trail isn't just a path through the desert. It's a place that tests your awareness, your patience, and your humility. Good navigation isn't about being perfect. It's about being present in the moment. Look for the markers, check the map, and trust your instincts. Don't let fatigue make your decisions for you, because out there, one wrong turn can cost you hours. A second wrong turn can cost you the trail. And a third wrong turn could cost you your life. Respect the terrain, respect the heat, respect the distance, and most importantly, respect the pace. Navigation is what keeps you moving forward. It's what gets you to camp, and it's what brings you home.